Hello and welcome to Women's Wellness with Dr. Liz Cavan. I'm Dr. Liz Cavan. I'm a naturopath who works here in Helena, and I also travel to Great Falls on Thursdays. And my show in the past has been about bringing women who are involved with business women in the healing arts, and have them be a guest. And that was really fun. I enjoyed letting you know about women in our community who are doing all sorts of things to help us stay healthy. I decided this fall to switch gears. And what I'm going to do is talk about some things that we use in naturopathic medicine to help us heal our patients, or that I use to help heal my patients. And in naturopathic medicine, one of our 6 principles is honor the healing power of nature. And I am going to be talking about different things that we can use throughout the fall to help us get our kids healthy, ourselves healthy, little things that we can do using the healing power of nature in this season when we tend to get sick more often. And that's what I'll be talking about today and in November and December. Today I'm going to talk with you about hydrotherapy. And hydrotherapy is using water to help yourself heal. If you think about it, we've been using water for a long time, thousands of years, to help us heal. There's a tradition in Europe of having the baths, the healing baths. We have Boulder Hot Springs here in Montana. We have other hot springs where we can go and heal. And I grew up in New Mexico. There's hot springs there. There used to be a center where people with different illnesses would go to soak in the waters and get better. And even in the Native American tradition, there was a sweat lodge. Water's been used to help us heal for a long time. Today I'm going to do a demo for you. I'm going to do 2 demos. One is something that you can do if your hands are sore. Now, I must say before I forget that this isn't to take place of your advice from your medical doctor. I'm just giving you an idea of something that you could try using water to help you heal. So let's say you do a lot of typing and your hands get tired. I used to be a professional massage therapist, and my hands would get tired after doing massage all day, several days in a row. By the end of the week, my hands would be kind of achy and tired. So one thing you can do, and you can pretend that this is 2 sinks, if you have a double sink in your kitchen, or you can take 2 tubs, like I have here, and you want to fill one with hot water, and you want to make sure it's not so hot that you burn yourself. So this water is a little bit too hot for me to put my hands in. I'm going to add some cold water to cool it down a little bit. And then in the other sink or the other tub, you're going to put cold water. So I'm just going to get some water in here. I'm going to try this out, make sure it's not too hot. That feels pretty good. And then if you're elderly or you have a young child, you really want to be careful because their skin is more delicate. Then what you do is you take some ice cubes and you put them in the cold water because you want the cold water to get really cold. So this is a fast, easy way that you can get the cold water cold, because when it comes out of your tap, it might not be cold enough to really get the effect that we want. So what we're doing is I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to put them in the hot water. You always start with hot first. So I'm going to put them in the hot water, and I'm just going to leave them here for about 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. And then I can really feel it's almost a little too hot for my hands. So I'm going to just pour a little bit of this in here. Hopefully I won't make too much of a mess. And then I'm going to put my hands in the cold water. And you do twice as long hot as cold. So I'm going to leave them in there for just a few seconds, and then I'm going to go back to the hot. And you may have guessed this already, but what it does is it gets the blood flowing in my hands. And actually, ideally, I would have my hands down past my wrists, because some people's wrists get really tired from typing and their fingers. And then I put it in the cold. So the alternating hot and cold, what it's doing is stimulating the blood flow, and it's also stimulating the nerves, which helps stimulate the blood flow. And why would we want to stimulate blood flow to our hands? And why would I want to stimulate it to my hands and my wrists? Well, I want to stimulate it in my hands and my wrists because blood brings nutrients to our cells and our tissues and our joints, and blood takes away waste products. And that's what we want to do, is we want to stimulate that flow of blood into the joint, because if we're not moving, we're not getting a lot of stimulation to our joints, and we can get inflammation in there. And doing this alternating hot and cold can help address the inflammation. I'm just going to repeat it one more time. What you want to do is you always start with hot and you end with cold, and you do it 4 times. So this is my 4th time of doing this. And like I said, this is a great thing to do, to use hydrotherapy or healing yourself with water to help your hands feel less achy from typing or overuse. Like for me, it was doing massage, but any kind of physical work where you're using your hands a lot. So now I'm done, and that's pretty much it. And it feels really good. My hands feel really stimulated right now. And when I would do massage, it just would really help my hands feel so much better. All right, I'm going to move this tea kettle because I don't really need it anymore. And I'm going to teach you another thing you can do. So this, like I said, my show is Women's Wellness with Dr. Liz. And so this is for you moms out there or you grandmas. And what you can do is what we call the wet sock treatment. And it's a hydrotherapy trick that we use with kids when they're first starting to get sick. And you can do it with adults too. Generally, I get better results with kids. And I'm talking about toddlers till about age 3. Sometimes when they're a little bit older than 3, it's harder to get them to cooperate with doing it. And what you do is you get a pair of cotton socks, which I have here, and I'm going to put them in the cold water and just let them, and you want the water to be cold, so not just cold from the tap. You need water that has a few ice cubes in it. And then you're going to put yourself or the child in a nice warm bath. So this is done before a nap. Like if the child's just starting to feel sick, you know how they can get kind of cranky and their eyes get kind of glossed over, or they're just they're not hungry. You moms know your kids, so you know when they're starting to get sick. Generally they might pull on their ears a little bit, and this would be a great time to do the wet socks. So what you do is get them in a hot bath, like not hot but a warm bath, before a nap or before bed. And then get them dried off, and you put the wet socks, you take the wet socks and you wring them out. So you want to really get the water wrung out of your socks. And I'm going to put mine in here. And we're going to pretend like my hand is my foot, because I can't show you my foot. So I also have a pair of wool socks here. And these are dry. And you're going to keep these dry. So you just put your child in a nice warm bath, or yourself, and then you're going to take these wet socks from the cold water, and you're going to put them on the feet. And you can tell your little kids that these are magic socks, that we're going to do the magic sock treatment. And then you put a wool sock over top of it. And you may think that this is crazy, but I swear it works. And remember, we're doing this when we first feel sick, or when our children are first showing signs of being sick. So I'm not going to do my other hand because I won't be able to move. But you do both the feet, and then you put them in bed. Immediately put them in bed, and tuck them in. Make sure they don't get chilled. And then in the morning, when they wake up, the wet sock is going to be dry. And that's why we call it magic socks, because the wet sock will be dry. And what happens while the child is sleeping or while the adult is sleeping is that that cold, wet, moist sensation on our feet stimulates the blood flow, like I said before, and it stimulates the lymph. And the lymph tissue are the tissue that have our white blood cells, and our white blood cells help us heal. They help us mount an attack against something that, like a virus or a bacteria. We put the sock on before we go to bed, make sure we're not chilled, and we wake up, the sock will be dry, especially with kids. When they wake up, the socks are dry, and they don't have those signs of being sick anymore. Generally, they feel a lot better because the socks have been stimulating their blood flow and the flow of their lymph while they've slept. And when I was in naturopathic school, there were quite a few of my classmates who had young children, and they would do this with their kids before, when they were showing signs of getting sick. And it worked really well because my classmates, they needed to be able to continue doing their schoolwork, and they were able to do it, and then their child wasn't grumpy, the child felt a lot better, they just a lot of times wouldn't get sick. So it's worth a try. It doesn't necessarily work every time. It's just water. I love using hydrotherapy to help people heal. It's just such a great tool, and it's cost effective. We just have to make sure that we're careful and that we don't burn ourselves. And if we're doing the wet sock treatment with the child, that they don't get chilled. So I'm going to go through the steps for the wet sock treatment. You sense that you're getting sick or your child's getting sick. You decide to do the treatment, the wet sock procedure, and you put the child in a bath or yourself. After the bath, you take the cotton socks, you get them wet in cold water, you wring them out, and you put them on the child or on yourself. Then you take dry wool socks, put them on, and then put the child or yourself to bed. And when you wake up, or when the child wakes up, the socks will be dry and you'll feel a lot better. And I would not recommend doing this on an elderly person because they get chilled really easily. We can talk about some other things to do with somebody who's elderly. Certainly you could do the alternating hot and cold. Just be careful with the hot, that you don't burn their skin because it's a lot more delicate. These are two great things that you can do at home to help you deal with the cold and flu season, and just be astute and think, oh yeah, I have that tool that I can use with hydrotherapy to help deal with sickness when you're first noticing signs of somebody getting sick in your family. So this is Dr. Liz Cavan, and I really enjoyed being with you today. We're going to do another demo next month. Probably more hydrotherapy, but something fun that naturopaths do to help nature help you heal yourself. Have a good day. Thanks.